Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. It wasn't supposed to be a video today, to be fair, but I thought I'd go out for a walk, and I decided I was going to take a walk around Hollinwood and Hollins and do a bit of filming and see what's what. So the first place that I stopped was at the church. I love this cemetery. Now, I spoke to the vicar the other day because I wanted some information on this William Lees. I want to know who the bloke is. But when I spoke to the vicar, he said they didn't have any information there and I'd need to speak to the records office in Oldham, but that's closed because of the bloody virus. So still a little bit in the well, not knowing really. But I noticed this had been cracked this for a while, but someone's been pulling this apart. I don't know who. But anyway, the graves that I wanted to show you, there's a couple. There's Lee's grave, and then there's also this chap here, James Wolfenden, renowned mathematician. He wrote the Liverpool tides, so you know when the tides come in and when the tides come out. He was the first person to do that. That's his desk mask there that you're looking at. Very, very good mathematician. He studied the works of Newton. He was born in Royton, but he lived his life in Holland. I'll put a link to the Royton Historical Society at the bottom because that's got a little bit more info on him, but excellent fella. He was actually offered a job, £300 a year to go and work in Liverpool, and he turned it down to stay and be a weaver in Oldham. Fantastic bloke. And the other amazing fact about him, up to when he died in his 80s, he'd never seen the sea. Yet he managed to calculate the tides. How crazy is that? He never saw the sea. Unbelievable. Anyway, we're done. Right, so as I'm walking down, I wanted to show you the site of a pub that once had a very, very famous landlord. But I came up to this, the Spinners. I think it's called the Spinners. Closed down. Doesn't look in bad repair. Do you know what I mean? It looks like it's just been closed for COVID, but I couldn't see any curtains at the windows. So maybe it's been closed for good. Just another old pub that's gone. But I know it was open not that long ago. Anyway, let's get to the reason why I've put the film on at this point. Now, on the corner here, as we come round the corner, I think it's called Baxter Street, used to stand a pub called Help the Poor Struggler. Now, the landlord of that pub was a guy called Albert Pierpoint. You might have seen that programme that they did. I think it was on BBC with Timothy, can't remember his last name. If you've seen it, you know it. But yeah, I think what they were focusing on then was the Christie side of it. But Pierpoint also, as well as hanging Reginald Christie, who was a serial killer and killed a ridiculous amount of women. That's been documented in a film as well with Richard Attenborough. But he also hung Ruth Ellis. She was the last woman to be hung in the UK. She was given the death sentence because she shot her boyfriend to death. Mad. Anyway, she shot him to death. But Pierpoint was the hangman that basically put her to death. And they said afterwards that he was just never the same afterwards. I think it really affected him, that one. So yeah, Help the Poor Struggler. I was sort of in two minds whether to add this little bit in. As you can see, there's messages here for people who aren't, going through a few problems maybe. I think this may be, there has been reports of people jumping off the bridges into the M60, and I wondered if this could be the site of one of them. Right, so moving on a little bit further down the road, you've got the site of where used to stand the Roxy Cinema. I think it had 10 screens when it finished up. I'm trying to think what films I saw there. It was all the Indiana Jones ones. I know I went there for an open screening once. A friend of mine worked there as a projectionist, so I was able to go behind and see where the films come from, and that was quite interesting. But every time I think of the Roxy, I always think of the bar for some strange reason. And that bloke who used to stand on the front, I think they used to call him Lurch. Now, I don't know if that was a derogatory name that they didn't dare say to his face, but that's what I knew him as. I don't know what the man's real name was, unfortunately, but I remember he used to absolutely terrify me. And he used to, I think he had a stick as well, like a walking stick, but I just remember him being really tall. To rain, and I've got no umbrella. I'm not bothered from here because I'm going to get showered and cozy pyjamas on tonight, but I don't want to get my camera wet, so I'm just going to jib in these. Look at this now. Do you remember the recent video that I did, the Durka one, and I told you about that sign that they had where they've knocked all the houses down and the wasteland that they've left and put these wooden barriers around them? Well, we've got this sign up that says Wildflower Meadow, but it's not. This, just off Hollins Road, it's a beautiful walk through. I've never walked through here before, but I love things like this. Strange thing about this is where the houses would have stood, you know, the terraced houses that would have mirrored them across the road. So these trees, in effect, are probably not that old. In fact, if I could remember how to measure a bloody tree, I would do. Something to do with your hands, and then you divide it by something, don't you? But anyway, this is usually where they have all the wildflowers. Now I would say, yeah, that's reasonable, a wildflower meadow there, but oh, look at this. So interesting. So you see the Welcome Inn used to be called the Setton Cemetery. In fact, underneath that sign there that says Welcome Inn is the old tile, or was, I don't know if it's still there now, but the old tile Setton Cemetery. Historically, this is, not historically, what am I talking about? This is usually where people go for wakes, because you've got the, down this road here, you've got the Hollywood Cemetery and crematorium. Now if you're interested in seeing that, there's videos on my channel, but this pub, very, very old. I've actually got the information on it. I'll stick it in, but look, it's got all the original tiles. Look, the old stonework. Look at it, it's beautiful. The original windows, and again, under the front there is the Setton Cemetery sign. I'm just trying to be careful not to film anyone in the face because I don't think that's very nice. But look, you can see where the paint, where it's been different colours over the years. I remember when it was all painted white. And then this is quite a rare sight for the streets these days, I think. The old phone box. I think this one still works. Usually this has got no glass in it. Gets kicked out every few weeks. I don't want to touch the receiver, but look, it still works. I'm not touching it. I won't touch it under normal circumstances, and definitely not now. Look at this. That didn't happen, did it? Well, this is the end of the video. I want to say again, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Really does make my day when I see I've got a new subscriber. Feel free to say hello, comment. I get that this video has been a bit wishy-washy because I've been walking around, not the best photographer, but I just wanted to do something, you know, because I went for a walk. So I hope that you got something out of it, and I will definitely see you in the next one.